Welcome back, guys. Or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous. That's the highly anticipated 2025 Subaru Crosstrek Premium, which does have a lot of favorable upgrades for this year. It's even in Subaru's all-new color, which they call Daybreak Blue Pearl, which really has a lot of blue metallic flake in the paint. I like it a lot, but I can't help but notice it looks an awful lot like the Horizon Blue Crosstrek Premium I owned a few years ago. But although this is one of the best compact crossovers you can buy, it's not perfect. So today, I get to share the good, the bad, and the ugly of this recently refreshed 2025 Subaru Crosstrek to help you guys at home decide if this might be the right vehicle for you, or if you should leave it at the lawn and look at the other compact crossover competition. So today, you can expect to see a walk around, all the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 on GPS, and then my final thoughts. And huge thanks to the Twin Falls Subaru for letting me borrow this one for the day. I'll link down below if you're interested because they sell below MSRP, they ship all over the country, and with that said, let's dive right into this review. And if you like Subaru, the Crosstrek, or my video, please be so kind to consider liking my video. Basically, that lets me know you want to watch more stuff like this. It helps the video get shared, but it'll help you as well by having YouTube choose to show you more stuff. Thank you so much. But if you're new to Subaru as a company, or the Crosstrek as a model, there's a few things that you should probably know before you spend your hard-earned money on one. Subaru is a Japanese automaker. They technically were founded back in 1915, although that was during World War I. Back then, they used to make military equipment, and in fact, I think they still do. But it wasn't until 1954 that Subaru was kind of rebranded, renamed, and they decided, you know what, guys, the war has ended, World War II, that is. Let's start making some cars. And then in 1968, over 20 years after World War II ended, that's when Subaru started to be shipped to the United States market, which is currently where I am. This is a United States spec Subaru Crosstrek. And in that time, Subaru has really grown as a brand. They aren't the biggest Japanese automaker. That position goes to Toyota. But what this has over Toyota's in a lot of sense is more affordable, better in crash tests, and according to Consumer Reports, as mentioned, they might be a little bit more reliable for this year. But the Crosstrek as a model is kind of just a Subaru Impreza that's been lifted, that has a few other cosmetic and interior differences if you guys want to check out that video. But overall, these came out back in 2013. They've gained a lot of traction. In the last 12 years, there are now 3 generations of this, with this 3rd generation coming out just last year. And in that time, it's gained a lot of standard safety features without gaining much more price tag. A base model starts at about $26,000. This premium is $27,000 before its optional packages that includes a sunroof, any extra features you'll see throughout. Before the premium price tag, you get Stage 2 X mode, which is all new for this year. You also get the 2.5-liter boxer engine. You even still have a J on the VIN number, meaning that this one was assembled in Japan. So the Premium is the only Crosstrek with the 2.5-liter boxer that is assembled in Japan, which the assumption is vehicles assembled there, or assembled with a little bit better quality control than other countries. That is speculation. My Crosstrek was assembled in Japan after 40,000 miles. It didn't have a single issue, but most of these don't have issues. I think Subaru in general has really worked out the quirks of this platform, but you get a lot of other standard safety features like really bright LED headlights, Generation 4 eyesight cameras, you have the raised roof rails, and you have a bunch of other features you're going to see throughout this video. And one of the things that I really like about the Crosstrek, and one of the joys that I found in it when I used to own it, is while being a subcompact, they are quite compact, but they aren't cramped. They do a lot of things well, such as fitting in a parking space. Driving around town, they're easy to park, easy to maneuver because they're not big behemoths, but they are stable enough at interstate speed, going 80 miles an hour. They're composed, and they're somewhat quiet. But this overall is about 14.6 feet long. The wheelbase is 8.75, which is fantastic for that overall length. It's about 5.9 feet wide, about 5.16 feet tall. It does weigh around 33 to 3,400 pounds, depending on which engine and which options you have. It has Subaru's payload capacity average of 900 pounds, so you can have 900 pounds worth of people and stuff in your Crosstrek. And then it has the typical 8.7 inches of ground clearance, a 370 final drive ratio. This one being a non-wilderness without the transmission cooler. It can tow about 1,500 pounds if you have a hitch on it, and then it can do a full circle in about 36 feet. And then the last couple things to mention out here is when you lock the vehicle, that gas door located on the passenger side, it locks, so you don't have to worry about the bums trying to siphon any of your 16.6 gallons of regular octane fuel. But this is rated for about 27 city, about 33 on the highway because of its bigger 2.5-liter boxer engine. After owning the 2-liter in the regular Crosstrek a few years ago and having a 2.5-liter Boxer in our Forester, I can say those numbers are very accurate. It should be pretty easy to get about 30 miles per gallon under normal driving conditions with this if you're being lighter on the gas pedal. If it's loaded down, if you're towing, if you're going uphill, you're probably not going to get those numbers. But it also has a really popular 225, 60, 17 wheel, so you actually have pretty good sidewall for this being more off-road focused. It is a Geolandar G91 with 930 seconds of tread. I don't necessarily love the silver and black wheel. It does look better in person than on camera, but the dual color scheme is just not my style. And then this is your key. You have lock, unlock, manual liftgate, but it unlocks, and then panic button. But because this is the proximity key on the premium and higher trim levels, just leave it in your pocket, because that's what these two little lines on the front doors are for, to lock and unlock the vehicle. The driver's side door panel of the Crosstrek Premium is nice, and it opens huge. Super easy to slide in and out of this vehicle, and at 5'11", the seat is a little bit lower than my hip, so it's pretty easy to get in, but it's still a high enough seat to get out fairly easily compared to some lower vehicles like the Impreza. The door card on this one is basically a cloth. I think it helps with the acoustics a little bit. You have the fake carbon fiber and just kind of a mix match of other plastics in here. Door card, soft. Armrest, soft. Subaru has designed a pretty good interior. And then down here, Subaru ran out of money. They couldn't put anything on the door sill to greet you or to name the model, but they did include that on the all-weather mats. You have a dead pedal, rubberized pedals, hood release OBD2 port, fuse box, no options other than dashboard lighting. There's your knee airbag, one of the reasons this is such a safe 5-star top safety pick vehicle. Ventilation, lighting stock, paddle shifters on the back of this non-leather wrapped wheel. The premiums used to have leather, but no longer, because again, Subaru had to save the $20 to put that somewhere else into the vehicle. And then cloth seats, which Subaru cloth seats, they have enough bolstering for the average person, and they're actually quite comfortable with the little baby size sunroof up top. And then sitting inside here, I like it a lot. This feels very homely. I can't believe I spent over 40,000 miles in one of these. That was a few years ago, and it was a fun experience. But when you fire it up with the push button start, the needles dance. If we had a wall in front of us, you could see the steering responsibility headlights move around. Basically, when you're going over 5 miles an hour, you turn the wheel, the headlights turn to follow the direction that the vehicle is preparing to go. The horn, it's actually pretty loud, but fairly high-pitched. Otherwise, everything is easy to get to. Voice and volume right here, info to go through a few things. You do have TPMS, which I like a lot. And then you have cruise control for those 3 eyesight cameras, which is awesome. And then sport mode and intelligent mode for acceleration. This is the big 11.6-inch screen. It gets better every year, but I don't love it. I'd rather have physical climate controls. Thankfully, you at least have some physical buttons on the side. You also have really good plugins, a 3-amp USB Type-C. You have a nice rubberized storage. The backup camera. I don't know if I'd rather look at that thing, which doesn't look very good, or if I'd just try to look out the back window or the side mirrors, because the backup cameras on these Subarus, not great clarity. Otherwise, you have electronic parking brake, heated seats, which work so much better than the generation of Crosstrek I had. And then you have not really anything else other than a small little LED light and a pretty good size center console. Otherwise, this does have the upgraded option that has the compass, the garage door openers, and the auto-dimming mirrors. Highly recommend that feature. I seriously missed that so much on the Toyota RAV4 that I sold my Outback Wilderness for most recently. LED lights. LED light. Nice job, Subaru. Let's turn it off and we'll hop in the back. Off-road capability aside, the back of the Crosstrek is one of the reasons why you would consider this subcompact over other ones. The door panels open huge, so it's easy to get your big dogs in here. It's easy to get a baby-sized giraffe or even a child safety seat. There's so much room to get in. You also have basically the same theme, the same colors as the front, although cheaper materials. You know, Subaru's starting to run out of money when the base model is only $27,000 and the average new car is $47,000. You also don't have a driver's side pocket for backseat drivers. And then this is your cloth bench seat, which again, I think is really comfortable. When you drop it down, it lays nearly flat because you do have a small temporary spare tire back there. So it raises the floor back there. And you still have a lot of room to store stuff in the back. And you can see the headrests don't even bump into the back seat where I'm sitting like they do on some other compact crossovers. And then you have the anchors and the 2 anchors down there for child seats, which, let me tell you, is very helpful. Otherwise, pretty good room. No vents, but I do have some plugins. And then this new 3rd gen Crosstrek does have the armrests, which I appreciate. The sunroof goes into the ceiling. You lose a little bit of headroom, but then you have a bulge right there. You have a little concave surface so that you can put your head up. At a 5'11", if I lean forward, I can possibly rub my head. But overall, I'm actually fairly comfortable for this small of a vehicle. Anyways, let's hop out and I'll show you the hatch. I think the back of the Crosstrek looks pretty good, and I think that this new blue color maybe looks just a tiny bit darker than the Horizon blue that I used to own. But seriously, look at that departure angle. Look at how much tire you can see and how the exhaust is tucked up, and the control arms and everything for the back suspension. Everything is angled up. You can see the little rear diff poking out right there. There's just really good ground clearance, and it looks pretty good in this color scheme in my opinion. But when we unlock the hatch, you're going to have to open it manually. You will notice that the backup camera is right here, and you have the PIN code so that you can get into the vehicle without having the keys on you. If you set that, I have a video on how to do that. It's a pretty cool feature, and I used to use it a lot on our Subarus. But back here, you actually have pretty decent storage, but about the same as the other compact crossovers. This is about 20 cubic feet. When we drop the seats, you would have about 55. So let me show you that right here. If you'll go down with the seat belt, there's actually pretty good room. Some other compact crossovers, like the CX-30 by Mazda, only have about 45, and that's a big difference. You have the regular mats right there, which honestly, when you pay for the all-weather ones, why do they have to give you the regular cloth ones? Just credit that 50 bucks back or whatever. And then under here, you should see all your tools, your eye bolt hole, your scissor jack, and your temporary spare tire, which is a Falcon 145 width. Anyways, I think it's fairly easy to reach up here and to throw down the hatch. And when it's time to come to the passenger side, you'll notice you have the same proximity key features. The door panel also looks very similar to the front. It opens large. There's nothing to greet you here, but there is right there. And then this is not powered like the driver's seat, it's just manual. But again, the backpack doesn't mind because the heated seats work well, and it's a comfortable cloth seat. Non-locking, adequately sized, but not large. No 12 volts or anything in there like there's in the Legacy and the Outback. But with that said, it's time to come around to the front, and I finally can pop the hood and show you what the 2.5-liter Boxster engine looks like. Under the hood is a 2.5-liter Boxster horizontally posed engine connected to an 8-speed simulated gear CVT, the TR580 down there. This engine is actually pretty cool. It makes about 182 horsepower, 176 pound-feet of torque. Unfortunately, I think that still is the thermal control valve, so it has like an electronic thermostat versus a mechanical one, which could potentially be a failure point for very few vehicles after a lot of years. Thankfully, Subaru has owned that. They're changing the style on other vehicles, and they've extended the warranty on a lot of other models, so that's not something to worry about. But the system, the overall package, it's really nice and composed. There's not a lot of wires, nothing looks zip tied. Everything looks to be very high quality. The air filter takes 3 seconds to change. Throttle body, upper intake manifold, one head. The other head, the block is mated right there. The serpentine belt, the alternator, the AC compressor, all the pulleys. Everything is so easy to work on. Other than maybe the spark plugs, you're going to have a lot of fun and save a lot of money doing your own maintenance on a vehicle like this, or taking it to someone who knows what they're doing. But this is all super easy, super obvious, and part of the reason why Subaru is rated so well, again, by Consumer Reports. But with that said, let's drop the hood, take it for a drive. Initial driving impressions of the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek Premium. With the 2.5-liter engine, even light acceleration gets up to speed quite a bit less anemically than the previous Premium did. This is honestly a huge upgrade over the vehicle that I used to drive. The heated seats actually work a lot better, but you still have all the other things you love about the Subaru Crosstrek. Visibility is overall really good, especially with those little front windows. Back visibility is great. The pillars really aren't that big. The speakers, you could get the upgraded speakers and some other trim levels, and that would be a noticeable difference. But honestly, the Crosstrek is just so well designed. If you really don't need a huge vehicle and you can get by with a compact crossover that does this class a lot of justice, this might be the right vehicle for you. It handles really good for what it is, for having a lot of ground clearance. It doesn't really feel like, even at interstate speeds, like the wind is getting under the vehicle and giving you a lot of uplift. This doesn't have downforce, you know, it doesn't have a spoiler, it doesn't have a chin splitter, things like that, but it just sticks to the road really well. It handles pretty good for what it is. changing directions like right here with a little bit of speed. You kind of still tell that there's a little bit of rally history in Subaru's DNA. Even though this is one of the smallest vehicles on the global platform, it's one of the funnest to drive, and I like it a lot. The 2.5 liter engine seriously is such a big upgrade, especially at altitude. You guys at sea level might not notice a big difference. This 2.5 liter might feel like the 2 liter does down there, but where we are at some elevation and engines are down on power, usually 10 to 20% throughout the year, depending on the specific day, this feels like it's good enough. Plus, I'm driving alone with the backpack. If I had 900 pounds of me and other people in here and cargo and roof rail stuff, you're gonna be slowed down a lot. If you're going up an incline and not just basically perfectly flat road, you're gonna feel that too. So having more power is usually a good thing, especially for safety, where this can get up to speed, probably about 100 feet faster than a 2 liter base model. That could be the difference between narrowly avoiding an accident and comfortably avoiding one. But anyways, guys, test drive one for yourself. I highly recommend you do if you are interested in this class of vehicle. Otherwise, let me get to the private road and we'll do a 0 to 60. 0 to 60 in the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek Premium. Density altitude's about 2,500 feet, so this is down on power 8%. Traction's off, sport mode is on, and it has a full tank of 87 Shell octane fuel. Let's see what it can do. And true 0 to 60 came in at 8.93 seconds, which is actually quite good for a Subaru Crosstrek at my altitude. My final thoughts of the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek, but specifically this Premium, is honestly, this is the deal, this is the value, this is where it's at. For only $1,000 more than the base model, you now get a better engine, you get a better traction system, you get a few other upgraded features, the proximity key features that you can pay for the My Subaru app and even have remote start. You just get so much more that for the first time ever, I think the base model might be the foolish option to buy compared to this. And honestly, I miss mine a lot. I didn't fully appreciate it when I owned it. I traded it from a 2017 Tacoma, a regular cab, and this was just a better all-around daily driver. But it was kind of boring for me. I'm kind of a car enthusiast. I want more power. I want something that could do a little bit more, that looked a little bit more how I would have wanted to mod it if I was going to mod my daily driver. And that's why for me, the Outback Wilderness was the more fitting vehicle. But whenever I drive one of these, I honestly miss it. I wish I took more advantage of driving a smaller car and the truck and even my old regular cab, second gen Tacoma, when I had the chance, because driving a small vehicle like this, that you can park basically anywhere there's 15 feet of room. It's just fantastic. It's nice. It's so composed on the road. It gets good gas mileage. It does everything you need it to off-road. It has pretty good approach and departure angles for being a Subaru, for being a soft roader, and it's affordable. This one is like 30 grand after its big Subaru Twin Falls discount, and it has a lot of other necessities in it and niceties as well. Honestly, I think this is a great vehicle, but I know it's not for everyone. I enjoyed mine for the couple years I had it. I don't have any regrets. I didn't have any issues. And I think if you are considering a vehicle like this, in this class, you definitely need to drive the Crosstrek because it's gaining a lot of popularity for good reason. These are awesome cars. Anyways, guys, if you got anything out of this video, please consider liking it. Subscribe if you haven't already if you want to watch more of my reviews and other car-related videos. And I wish you the absolute best. Until next time, see ya.